There's one Walmart greeter that I guess had a moral dilemma when it came to whether or not stealing, as he saw it happening as people came out of the store, was something he would let slide. His TikTok user, his name is Brandon Tamayo, and he explains that while he was working as a receipt checker, when he did notice folks that were maybe stealing baby formula or diapers for their kids, that he would turn the other way and kind of let it move on. Let's take a look at what he was saying and his philosophy behind this.
I used to work at Walmart as a door greeter, and basically a door greeter is someone that says hi and bye and also checks your receipt before you leave the store. And every time I saw a customer, mostly a woman, when I checked the receipt and I saw Pampers or baby formula that was not on the receipt, I just said, have a great day. Why? Because they're expensive and kids are expensive in general. In my store and the company in general, like, we didn't really get a reward for the amount of stuff like we caught people stealing. I mean, that was AP's job, and they would tell me like, she's stealing, catch her, like check her receipt. And I'll check the receipt and I'm like, you're good, have a great day. And AP would be pissed, but did I care? No, because I was making $11.50 during that time.
There was a little bit of philosophy behind that, which I think could be debatable. Whether or not, I'm sure there's many people would think, oh, just because you only make $11.50, does that mean you should allow, shoplifters to steal from the store? Now, this of course comes with the rising cost of just taking care of children, specifically after the pandemic. Childcare, schooling, all those types of things have risen because a lot of those places that people have been able to go have also shrunk. Many teachers have also retired. We see many aspects of this has happened, but just like as I mentioned, the pandemic has caused this to happen. Childcare costs have risen in all of these aspects. Look at some of this from Fortune magazine. Throughout the past 2 years, childcare providers have faced increased operating costs, razor-thin profit margins, unpredictable attendance, and staff hiring challenges, and that's taken a toll. A recent Childcare Aware of America report found that nearly 16,000 providers across the United States permanently closed between December 19 and March of 21 in 37 states that did do that data. Now, when you look at the all of America, when it comes to this as well, they said, but when looking at all 50 states, it's estimated that 20,000 childcare programs have ceased operations, or up to 10% of the pre-pandemic industry. That's according to a new report from the Century Foundation. Also across the US, parents are seeing an average annual cost increase of 41% for center-based childcare providers, and spending an average of $14,117 annually. That's up from $9,977 from the pre-pandemic. That's according to data from a recent Lending Tree report. Also, households with children younger than 5 were hit hardest by these increases, is what this report found. Okay, now one particular state, actually before we get to this state, because Colorado's trying to do something differently when it comes to assisting parents as they come through this. First off, some of y'all's thoughts on this particular first start of this with that greeter, and if this is something you would do.
First off, I grew up in the way I think that society frames this stuff is constantly like all the shows, cops, doesn't matter what it is, bad boys. It's like, well, look at the poors, look how bad they are. They run around and stealing, and they're so, stealing a car, oh my God. Yeah. When like you grow up, I eventually realized the majority of theft that takes place in America, it's wage theft. Like, I don't know if either of you have had a whole bunch of like really crappy minimum wage jobs that you absolutely despised. Oh, yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, go work some overtime. It's totally fine, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're not in a union, don't worry about it, you'll get taken care of. Like, that's the stuff that actually happens on a regular basis. But when you see on TV or you see on Twitter or any of this, like, did both of you see that police seizure where they had all these diapers and baby formula and other stuff? And I was like, you are proud of this? This is so embarrassing. What is wrong with you? Like, they need this to feed and clothe their children.
Yeah, it's very heinous. I'll just say, if you see someone stealing diapers from Walmart, no, you didn't, okay? You didn't see that. Because, I mean, these are people in desperate situations. If you're literally stealing diapers, would you rather their child go without diapers or them steal it? I mean, because the government's not gonna provide it to them, We can't rely solely on charities and non-for-profits that provide these things, because there is if they worked, we wouldn't have these problems, right? And in some areas, it's just not an option for some people. But yeah, like you mentioned, wage theft is a huge problem, but also they're stealing from the consumers in the form of price gouging, because some of the complaints on this video in the TikTok comments were like, when you steal something, it makes them raise the prices. That's why our diapers are now so expensive. And it's like, it's not, because these thefts are a tiny amount versus the massive profit margins of Walmart. The increase in prices is they do it because they can. Because Walmarts will come in and they'll take out all of the other stores in an area until Walmart is the only store in that area, and you have to go there to buy your products, and then they can jack the prices up to whatever they want, because that's the only store in your town, especially for rural areas. That's the only place you could go to get these things, so they can make the prices whatever they want. And some people can't afford those prices, and desperate times call for desperate measures. I'd rather someone steal diapers than their baby go without diapers or formula that they need to live.
I have one quick question for you, Lance, because before we go to this break, I wanted to ask, because you're I forget, you're in Vancouver. I know you're in Canada, but
I don't hold it against me, but I'm in the made-up cartoon land of Canada.
Yes, never heard of it. Are there like moose everywhere and like mounties? Anyways, so
we take showers in syrup. It's glorious.
My wife is Canadian. She's from Toronto, and there was a point when I was talking to her, and she said her brother was going out he had some errands to do, and he's got 2 young children, and he dropped them off at a drop-off daycare location, and it was just part of the routine. He goes, yeah, I had to drop them off at the drop-off location, leave them there for hours. I do this and do that. I was like, oh, really, man? I said, that's crazy. Just which one is that? Like, how do you trust these folks? And she's like, they're kind of everywhere. You just go to these spots. Now, I don't know if you have children or not, or if you're deeply rooted into how this whole process works, or if it's just an Ontario thing and not over where you are. But is this something that seems like it's overblown, it's not really done that well? Maybe you have abuse happening. I don't know if you know the details of this, so if you don't, I understand, but I'm just curious.
I both do not have children and know nothing about that program, so I couldn't speak to that. In terms of like, is the theft overblown? I would say, because this is something what I do know about is if you look at the statistics of like theft and how it occurs and what exactly is the largest theft in both America and Canada, it is overwhelmingly wage theft. And I don't just say that flippantly as in like, oh, a couple people didn't get this or that. The big reason for that and the reason that occurs is because the departments that are tasked with actually trying to hold people accountable for that are woefully underfunded in both countries, in both America and Canada, which allows a lot of employers to get away with it because the people who basically are working for them don't have the ability to either sue them because it costs a lot of money to do a lawsuit, or they'll just accept it because they don't have any power in the situation. But I don't know about a drop-off daycare system. I would assume in Canada, if it was really resulting in a lot of bad things happening, it probably wouldn't last long because you don't really get away with like, children for long before people will like have pitchforks at your place of business or something like that.
Absolutely.
I could actually speak to a program like that because I worked at one here in America. My municipality ran those. They were called drop-off playgrounds. So I worked for the city Parks department for a while, and so we would have, one of us would be stationed at the playground. Parents could come and drop their kids off and sign in. And we would watch them for a couple hours or however long the parents needed. And then we would also give them, we had, a non-for-profit would donate meals and we would give them lunch and then the parents could come back and pick them up. But I mean, it worked and it was a great program. And, I'm really proud of my municipality for having that. It's not widespread. And also, I mean, it doesn't work for all parents because it's limited amount of hours. It's not a replacement of daycare by any stretch of the imagination. And daycare is extremely expensive, and that needs to be remedied.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. I really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.